Here we're graphing another reciprocal function. It's y equals 2 times the cosecant of x plus pi over 4. Let's immediately get it into the appropriate form. Y equals 2 cosecant parenthesis 1 parenthesis x minus a negative pi over 4. See, the double negative makes a positive, plus 0. So comparing that to y equals a cosecant k x minus b plus c, we notice that a is equal to 2, k is 1, b is negative pi over 2, c is 0. Okay, step 1, the old asymptotes at the zeros of the sine function. You'll notice since it's a reciprocal function, the asymptotes are located at the zeros of the sine function. We're at x equals 0, x equal pi, x equal 2 pi. You can look at note 1, what is that? Note number 161 to see that. So our new asymptotes are going to be acquired from the old ones by taking x old divided by k, which in this case is 1, and add b, which in this case is negative pi over 4. And that means xo minus pi over 4. So the x values for the new asymptotes are x equals negative pi over 4, x equals 3 pi over 4, and 7 pi over 4. So you just take the old x values and you subtract pi over 4, you'll get these values. Okay, so those are our vertical asymptotes. The old interval of interest from note 161 was 0 less than x less than 2 pi, and there's no equal portion there because there's asymptotes there. It can't be equal. The new interval of interest is acquired by taking the same extremes as the old interval 0 and 2 pi and the same symbol less than with no equal portion, and in the middle insert x over k minus b. Okay, that's a minus b, don't forget. It's not a plus b like the asymptotes. Well, that's x over 1 minus a negative pi over 4. In other words, x plus pi over 4. We'll get x alone in the middle, and we'll have negative pi over 4 less than x less than 7 pi over 4. That's our new interval of interest, starting at negative pi over 4, ending at 7 pi over 4. Using that as x initial less than x final, our new period is x final minus x initial. So it's 7 pi over 4 minus a negative 8 pi over 4, pi over 4, which equals 8 pi over 4, which simplifies to 2 pi. It's a 2 pi period. The old key points from note 161 for our cosecant were 0 from the positive side, pi over 2, and then pi from the negative and the positive side, 3 pi over 2, 2 pi from the negative side. There's lots of asymptotes going on here. So from the positive side of 2, the y values are approaching infinity. It's undefined. At pi over 2, it's equal to 1. At pi from the negative side, y's are approaching positive infinity, undefined. But from pi on the positive side, we have the y values approaching negative infinity. So we have two things happening at pi, one on the left side, one on the right side. Then at 3 pi over 2, the y value is negative 1, and at 2 pi, approaching from the negative side, the y values are approaching negative infinity, undefined. And just look at the picture. I want you to look at the graph on page note 161. To see that this is precisely what's happening in the graph at these lists of x values. So that's going to correspond to our new key points, which are found by, well, the new key points for x are acquired by the old key points, the old x values divided by k plus b, and the y new values are a times the y old values plus c. So x0, the new x the new x values are x old minus pi over 4, and the new y values are 2 times y old. Okay, so let's grab an x old. We'll take the 0, and we're going to subtract pi over 4 to get negative pi over 4. And of course, we'll be approaching from the same side, the positive side. Then take the pi over 2, the old value, and subtract pi over 4. We'll get pi over 4. And continue that way. You get 3 pi over 4. That occurs twice. 3 pi over 4 from the negative side, 3 pi over 4 from the positive side. And you see how I'm calculating the y partners at the same time, just by multiplying them by 2. Of course, multiplying infinity by 2 doesn't change anything. And we can see the correspondence with the star here. And then we have x value that turns out to be 5 pi over 4, and the y partner, we multiply negative 1 times 2 to get negative 2. And then 7 pi over 4 from the negative side, the y partner approaches negative infinity. All right, let's take this information and let's graph it. Here's our y-axis and our x-axis. Y equals 2 cosecant x plus pi over 4. Now, we're going to start at negative pi over 4. This is our interval of interest. There's an asymptote there. Our y values are -2 and +2. And then let's see, we're going to divide this all the way up to the highest x value, 7 pi over 4 in our interval of interest. The middle is 3 pi over 4. Then half of that would be, halfway on the left would be pi over 4. On the right would be 5 pi over 4. Graph your asymptotes. Okay, now, the first point, negative pi over 4 on the right side has us going to infinity, and then 3 pi over 4 has us going to infinity from the left side. And then, of course, we have the 2 at pi over 4. So just graph these points and graph the corresponding y partners to get the following picture.